Why is tea not good when you want it to be good? And it's cold because I made it 20 minutes ago. So today it's the morning after the Oscars, and no, I haven't watched them because my lazy ass woke up at like 2 and was like, nope, ain't gonna do it. Which usually doesn't happen, but usually I've watched most of the Oscar nominated movies, so I at least have an idea of what's going on this year. I've only watched the ones that I've mentioned in my last video, so it would be kind of pointless for me to get excited over things I have no idea about. But this is what I'm gonna do today, because what is this? Because we're going to talk about some of the red carpet fashions this year, and I'm gonna try and see what kind of historical influences we have in each outfit. So I must admit, this time it was way harder than back when I did the Golden Globes fashion for some reason. For some reason, the Golden Globes dresses this year were much more historically influenced than the Oscar dresses, but I'm gonna try either way. I'm gonna go alphabetically. So we're gonna start with Amandla Stenberg. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna be like, oh, I see a little bit of fringe here and there. Screaming 1920s! Nope, it's not actually. First of all, the silhouette is obviously not 1920s. Maybe just the layering of the fringe makes it look a little bit 1920s, but... And also, okay, the colors could work for 1920s style as well. But the silhouette itself, especially the bust area and top, made me think of 1910 circa designs, like evening fashion. Especially the hanging strings, like the things that hang from below the bust. They made me think of those like 1910 evening gown designs where you had some sort of material or strings or pearls or something hanging from the bust area that hang a little bit below the waist level. So this is something that to me is a bit similar. Other than that, it's just a modern dress again. Like, a lot of these comparisons are going to be really far-fetched because seriously, this year... Let's move on to Ashley Graham. Her dress reminded me a lot of like good 1950s like figure-hugging dresses. She looks amazing, by the way. Like, what the hell? And the choice of fabric and the fact that it's black. Even the way her bust looks in it, it just looks so much like those old Hollywood starlets. What also came to my mind was this Camille Clifford photo shoot where she's wearing really figure-hugging black dress. The photo was obviously a bit adjusted and the dress was padded, but other than that, it looks pretty much the same, except she was having some sort of like shoulder straps. Awkwafina, I don't know how to pronounce your name, girl, but no offense. This suit, and especially the bow, reminded me of like late 1960s fashion where women were kind of experimenting with fancy suits, but at the same time it wasn't like black and white, but instead they were also experimenting with fabrics, with, you know, there were a lot of neck stuff involved. So in terms of that, it looks really late 1960s, early 70s to me. Charlize Theron. So her dress, it's not completely influenced, but it has some signs of 1940s, mainly because of the sleeves and I don't really know, but I think the sleeves look 1940s. But then when she turns around, you can see there is this huge cut on her back that makes it look 1930s. So I'd say it's like 1930s, 1940s, but again, and then the train, more 1930s. So 1930s from the back, 2019 in the front. Deborah Davies, okay, this lady is so adorable. I only found out who she is after I've seen the picture, but she looks so great, and I wonder like why isn't she mentioned in any of like the best red carpet looks articles, just because she's not that famous. And the dress itself is gorgeous. It reminded me again of those 1910s even dresses, like evening gown, because they used to have some sort of like a sheer layer, and it was usually the bodices were heavily decorated while the skirts were kind of quite plain. This is what came to my mind, but the silhouette itself is more 1950s than anything else, so then there's that. So then we have Emma Stone, and honestly I love the dress, but I don't think you can tell it's influenced by any particular decade. I was thinking that the shoulders look a little bit like 1890s evening gowns, because that's when the flounces went kind of up. it was like there was a lot of volume at the shoulders and it went at this particular angle, but that's also kind of like really far-fetched. Glenn Close, oh my goodness, she looks so good. I don't know, but all of the older actresses always look so amazing, and you're always looking at them and you're like, when I'm their age, I'm gonna be stuck in my pajamas on a daily basis, and I don't think I will know what an evening gown is. Here's Glenn Close looking like a queen. And actually, that's a comparison I think I can make, because her gown, though the cut is completely modern, it reminds me a bit of coronation gowns, because there's this trained cape that comes from her shoulders, and also court gowns, because trains like that were usually added to court gowns. And I mean like mostly 18th and 19th century court gowns, the beginning of 20th century I think as well. Helen Mirren. See, here is what I was talking about. Like, she looks so damn fine. I don't know, this look is just really cute. She looks really cute. And the dress itself, I'm thinking like late 40s, early 50s. The color is like really late 50s and early 60s. But then the skirt is not full enough. It's yeah, late 40s, let's say. Lady Gaga, and by the way, why the hell do Americans and like English speaking people pronounce her name so weird and they go like Lady Gaga? Back to the focus of this video. I actually love her look. I think it's really cool because it's like almost old Hollywood, and then you have those weird hip gores and you're like, what the hell is going on? So we have this like classic 1950s glamour look with a twist, and I actually love that. So the dress itself, obviously very 1950s. The bodice, the way it tightly fits around the bust area and the waist area, the way it has no straps, no shoulder straps or anything. It's huge at the bottom, the way it has this train, just everything is like taken from 1950s, and then you have those kind of awkward looking hip fillings. But then at the same time, this is what makes the dress so cool. And it kind of reminded me of first Balenciaga and then Charles James. I'm always trying to not mix him up with James Charles designs, because he also focused on like geometrical constructions and the way you can make the dress look a bit odd, but at the same time it's still very glamorous. So I think it's kind of taking that to the extreme. Really cool, very nice. Letitia Wright is wearing something I would say is a really cool tribute to the Audrey Hepburn gown that she wore in 1954. A, it's the color. B, it's the fabric, which is really similar. C, it's the sheer sleeves. Did Audrey have sleeves though? No, actually she didn't. Sorry. The silhouette though is not very 1950s. The dress could have been that narrow, but then it would be shorter. If it was that long, it would usually be a bit fuller. It's also not very tightly fitting around the waist area, but the way it's kind of modest and it's also kind of looking like a wedding gown, to me it looks very Audrey Hepburn. Lucy Boynton, you remember how I was pleased with her look in the Golden Globes video because she did a 1940s style look. Here I would say this is a very 1930s look, mainly because of the choice of the fabric, the color of the fabric, the sleeves and the color combination. But at the same time, if you look at it from a more historical perspective, it also looks very 1830s. So like the low neckline showing the shoulders and then the fuller sleeves and the tight bodice, it all looks 1830s. And also the color, I think it will work in 1830s. So it's 1830s/1930s. Molly Sims, this dress is maybe not the most 1940s dress I've ever seen, but you definitely can see the influence, mainly in the sharp arms, the way the arms are shaped, and also in the bare midriff, sort of. It's not really a midriff, it's like a side midriff. But those cutouts look really 1940s to me, and the whole gown, if it was, let's say, black, would scream Lauren Bacall to me. And at the same time, the embroidery at the lower part of the skirt looks a little bit like 18th century royal gowns. Shapes that are embroidered, they kind of look 18th century. Olivia Colman is such a sweetheart. Her dress basically might look late 1960s because of the high neckline and the train. I was thinking when I saw the back of the dress with the huge bow and the sheer fabric coming down that it looks kind of like 1969 evening gown or like 1967. It's definitely something that might be around at the time. The green part itself though reminds me of medieval dresses. Like the shape is kind of similar apart from the color. I have no idea how to pronounce her name. If she was Polish, I would say Sha. I was thinking, interestingly enough, her dress is the most historically inspired. It looks really 1690s to me. Let me tell you why. The hairstyle, the neckline, the bodice, the necklace, and the way the skirt is kind of like volume at the top. All of these elements combined sort of look 1690s to me, or even 1700, what I came up with, and don't argue with me, okay? No, but honestly though, the top of the dress, the silhouette is 100% historically accurate 1700s stays, so I'm not making it up. Tessa Thompson's dress reminded me of a hobble skirt, of a 1910s hobble skirt, because it actually looks like it's really narrow, so that would be it. But also the golden straps look like I've seen some caricatures of a hobble skirt where a girl would have a string tied around her ankles to make a regular skirt look and seem like a hobble skirt. Yalitza Aparicio? Sorry if I butcher her name. I love her dress. She looks so gorgeous, damn it. The dress looks 1950. The color, even the fabric, the way it's draped at the top, maybe even the silhouette look 1950s to me. And I think 1950s is what's most often referenced at the Oscars because it's the most classic glamour thing you can imagine, and it just usually works really well. So if you're, especially if it's your first time at the Oscars, as in this case I think it's a really good choice because you can never go wrong with like classic 1950s look unless it's ill-fitted. Oh, she's the last one? Is she? Damn it. So though I had some other choices, like there were some other looks that I really liked and enjoyed and I thought they were interesting, they're not really historically inspired, so I'm not gonna include them in this video. Let me know what you think was also inspired by any type of fashion history, by any era. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you at the next awards show. Or actually, when is Met Gala coming up? See you in May. With this series, I mean, I'm not gonna be not posting until May.